I promised opening night live stuff, but the reality is the week was so packed with games. I don't know how to cut this down into an hour. So I'm going to try and make it work. One thing I'm not going to do is spend 45 minutes talking about Kirby Air Riders. Let's pop the top on this thing. I'm ready to talk to you about video games. I sure hope you're ready to hear about them, because that's what we're going to do. Look, I have a confession to make. I downloaded something. It was larger than I thought it would be. And at 191 gigabytes, I'm here to tell you that Call of Duty Warzone is too big. As adult gamers, and this is a podcast for adult gamers, it's called The Andy B Show. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Andy B, at least for this week. We'll talk to management and see what happens next week. We play a lot of single-player games around here. When you get busy with kids, you get busy with career, get busy, trying to build and maintain relationships, your health, everything else, video games are really any hobby, which is my argument, that video games are just as valid as any other hobby you might find. The hobbies get cut out. You slow things down. You can't pursue them like you used to. Here's my suggestion, though, is that, people let go of the multiplayer games. Your skills are going to decay anyway. It's not going to be as good as it used to be. Sorry. It's not. But you can have a lot of fun. We've been playing Battlefield 6 around here. The beta that's been going on. Maybe we'll pick up the full game in October when it launches. Maybe. If they have a single player campaign, we'll talk about it. But the multiplayer games suck up all of the gaming time, and usually your crew, as you age, is busy. They're also busy, maybe having kids, maybe doing careers, maybe jet setting, traveling the world. I don't know what they're doing. But they get busy. And so what happens when all of your friends, all of your crew that used to be busy is not available to play games? Well, you get thrown in with the randos, right? You get put into multiplayer matchmaking, which is better than it's ever been. And sometimes worse. Skills-based matchmaking is controversial. But you just go in with the randos. And so many of these games that have incredible peak experiences don't do really well when you're stuck with the randos. There are games where you as a solo player can go further than you've ever gone and do more to kind of accomplish or hit a peak moment in a multiplayer game than you ever could. Battle Royale modes and games have absolutely brought that to the forefront, where one person versus 99 other people dropping onto an island. Fortnite, DayZ. Does DayZ do that? DayZ is what came to mind. And Call of Duty, Warzone. You drop in and you beat everybody over the course of eliminations, and you don't do it often. Like if you're getting dubs, if you're getting wins on those types of game modes all the time, you should probably start streaming and see if you can get some followers. Hopefully you're entertaining, not just good at the game, because you could probably make some money on that. But most people are not going to get the dubs. Most people are not going to win. They're going to lose those. But they build enough around them to make it fun. Little challenges and unlocks and goofs. But multiplayer games are eventually going to fall flat if you don't have your crew. And what continues to be exciting as you get a busy adult life is fitting in the important things to you, whether it's hobbies or fitness or relationships, in the interstitials between the things you have to do. The big blocks of your day are picked up by sleep, hopefully 6 to 8 hours. Come on. Work, 7 to 10 hours a day, depending. And family, right? If you're building a family, whether it's just a partner, significant other, spouse, children, if you have children, fur babies, little pets that you care about, they take up big blocks of your time. And then you need to slot in fitness. If the pie chart's getting pretty thin for something that you would do for, you maybe used to do for hours, and now you do for minutes. So single player games are great, and small games are great because they can just slot in really well, and you can have a wonderful experience just with those small video games. So single player games are where it's at for adults, for sure, for adult gamers. And yet we like to play multiplayer games still. And sometimes the crew calls you. I got a text from a friend that was like, "Hey man, we're playing Warzone tonight. You in?" And I was like, "I haven't put the kids to bed yet. We could talk about it." And I got talked into it pretty quick, actually, and hit the download button for my PlayStation mobile app and let what is apparently 191 gigabytes to play Warzone. Like that, apparently that's what's required. I don't know if it downloaded like other Call of Duty games that I've also purchased without asking it. I went to go find the Warzone app and downloaded that, and then I got like 4 notifications. It's like more content's been downloaded. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what it's downloading. Maybe it's downloading other campaigns, but without making any choice, it's 191 gigabytes to download Warzone. And I got in with 2 other friends, and we were playing, I guess they were probably playing duos, which is where you pair up and go down the island and fight in squads of 2. And I ended up making it quads, which means we had 1 rando and then the 3 of us. And it was interesting. Call of Duty Warzone, which is probably going to undergo a bunch of changes with the new Black Ops 7 that's coming out in November, feels the same to me as it did years ago. And we were playing on Verdansk, which is the old map, the original map. And so it's interesting because it feels like it hasn't changed. Like it feels exactly the same. So to that end, it was comfortable. It's like, I don't have to wonder what the controls are. I know I'm supposed to shove these armor plates into my chest, armor or whatever, every time I get hit. Instantly, like I shot somebody and the words that came out of my mouth were, I cracked him. And I'm like, okay, like I cracked his armor. I didn't even think about that. So like I definitely played, it all came back, including losing, because as soon as I showed up, they stopped winning. But it turns out they've added a bunch of things to the game to make it a little bit easier. In Battlefield 6, the multiplayer beta that just came out, there was like a training grounds mode where you got some other players and then also some AI bots that looked like regular players, but were obviously going to be a little bit easier to take down than some of these sweats, some of these really tough people. And that's designed to kind of ease you into the game. But I'm kind of thinking like, maybe that just should be the standard game mode, because Call of Duty Warzone had the same thing. And let me tell you what my other family and career-minded friends felt like before I got there. They're like, man, we got 3 wins in a row. We're freaking out. They felt so great. Then I showed up, and they didn't go back to the training ground playlist, which is apparently what they were on. They called it something else. They thought they were in duos or whatever, the regular mode where every other player is No, they were playing against some real players, and they're pretty good at the game. They're better than I am. And some bots. So what does that mean? They felt fantastic about winning, not knowing it was bots. Would they feel just as good knowing it was a mix of bots and not bots? My contention is yes. I think they would feel just as good. And that's where Titanfall and Titanfall 2 had it right. You would show up, and even if you weren't the best at the game, you could contribute significantly to the outcome of a match because you would take down some mobs, some computer-controlled enemies, enough to call down your Titan and wreak some havoc for a while. And when you met up with a, tougher real player that knew how the game worked and really, knew how to manipulate all of the ins and outs and min-max all the damage, they would whoop you. But you felt okay about it because you were contributing real points to the map, and you could build up. This is all to say that we need Titanfall 3. I didn't know I was going to get here in this monologue, but Titanfall, where is it, EA? Like, why don't we have Titanfall 3? It was the best. Titanfall 2. And it's still great. It's still great to go back and play that one. I haven't played it in a while, but I did make a run a few years ago, or a year ago, to download it and replay some of that multiplayer. Anyway, Call of Duty Warzone, aside from the incredibly challenging way of finding space on my console, 191 gigabytes worth of space, it was easy. It was easy to get in, easy to play games with the friends. The download and load up times for each match were really long. They sell you 6,000 skins. There's a billion things they want to sell you. But you could just get in and play for free. And I'm telling you again, there's never been a better time to be a gamer of any age, because a young kid that wanted to play some multiplayer games can get Warzone for free. No $80, no $70. You can have a pretty good time. And, if you wanted to buy the real game and play the standard multiplayer, you could do that too if you got the cash. So it's pretty good. Yeah. What do you think? Are you playing this Warzone still? Are we just moving on? Are we ready for Battlefield? It was interesting to, move from the life of just a single player gamer, even if it was just for one night, and play some Warzone. So thanks for the text, buddy. Appreciate you if you're out there listening. Sometimes he listens to the show. But we made plans. We're like, well, what do you do next? Because as professionals, we're always asking, what's the next action? What are we doing next? When are we meeting up again? When are we getting another? When's the gang getting back together? And I think it's this week, because this is the podcast recording for Monday, August 25th. And if you're listening on day one, that means that we're less than 24 hours away from Helldivers 2 launching on Xbox, a PlayStation Studios game launching on Xbox, becoming more common. It's absolutely common for Xbox games to be launching on PlayStation, but it's less common for it to go the other way around. And so it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to have Helldivers 2 coming out. My two friends that I was playing Warzone with are on Xboxes, and I'm on PlayStation. I have an Xbox, but my current online live subscription, because as a console gamer, we still pay for online, is on PlayStation. And that's where I got my Helldivers 2 game. And those guys are really big into Halo. And so they're doing this Halo crossover event where because it's launching onto Xbox, they're going to do some Halo content. They got a Halo Warzone bond, the War Bond, not Warzone, War Bond. So in Helldivers, I don't know, confusing this Call of Duty and Helldivers game. In Helldivers 2, they sell premium war bonds, which is their battle pass. But the big thing they do, and that Halo did in the last Halo game, when it comes to battle passes, is they don't expire. So when you buy the battle pass, you can take as long as you want and earn the XP or premium credits or whatever to fill that battle pass out and unlock all the gear. And that is the most consumer friendly way to do it. There were 68,000 people playing Helldivers 2 when I logged in Saturday, because I was like, maybe I should update this game. It's probably going to update again Tuesday when the new content comes out. But I kind of want to get a match in. I kind of want to feel this. I want to feel the hell diving. You go down to these alien planets, you scour for resources, take down small bases, get ambushed by the different types of enemies they have, which are like robots, Terminator style robots. They have these, is it Tyranids? Is it actually Tyranids? That's a Warhammer thing, right? Basically, it's the bugs from Starship Troopers, where they're just, like really fast and super creepy and scary, and they bleed green, and it's the best. They're the best enemy in the game. And then they have this new one called the Illuminate, which, is from Helldivers 1, which I didn't play. But Helldivers 2 has now the Illuminate enemies, and I saved them. I was like, oh, let me not go dive down to the Illuminate planets just yet and try and defend. I'll save that for Tuesday. But we're going to get back together Tuesday. Helldivers 2, the Halo stuff's coming out. It should be pretty cool. What else is going on this week? If you're listening to this show, there is another episode coming out this week. We're going to have two. This one is the early access episode, the second one of those from the Patreon, patreon.com/the Show. You can go there and be a friend of the show. You can join for free and get things like the Gaming 411 newsletter, or you can become a friend of the show, support the show with a little bit of cash, and get access to the early access episodes that are only available on the Patreon. We have the audio and the video versions of those episodes up, and they're exclusive to the Patreon. But they're also early access. If I ever get sick, the voice is out, something happens, I might, pop one of those into the end of the main feed, so everybody's got something every week, because this is a weekly show. But you can go get the Gaming 411 newsletter for free. You can just check the links in the show notes down below. No matter where you're listening, the show notes are there. And basically, the Gaming 411 newsletter, which came out Saturday, comes out Saturday mornings, this is number 5. Subscription services rule: we don't play bad games unless, and we jump feet first into hell. That's the Helldivers, or ODST Halo crossover. So I'm always going to talk about 4 trending stories in video games, one game I wish I had more time to play, and one show update for me, a little bit of inside baseball. This week it was about changing the logo on the show. so that it shows up a little bit better in podcast apps for folks that maybe just don't know who I am and want to click. So share the show. Please follow me, like, subscribe wherever you're listening. I really appreciate it. It all matters to me. And I think, I think I do a good show, maybe a great show. I do the best show that I can do for you and for me that fits in with my life and family and everything else. But I want to make sure that it's something that you really enjoy and like. And let me know, leave me comments, rate the show, do all that stuff. So anyway, if you want to support the show, the only thing you need to remember, patreon.com/the show. So we've got a lot more coming up on the show. We're going to talk about opening night live, all of the Gamescom, not all of the Gamescom stuff. I'm not going to go over everything that happened at Gamescom. It would be impossible to do in an hour. And this show, I try and keep it, right around an hour. But I am going to talk about a few things that I thought was interesting, and I hope you stick around to check it out. So we're going to take a quick break, and welcome back to the show. Thanks for sticking around and listening. One of the things I think I almost don't. I promised opening night live stuff, but the reality is the week was so packed with games. I don't know how to cut this down into an hour, so I'm going to try and make it work. One thing I'm not going to do is spend 45 minutes talking about Kirby Air Riders. There was a 45-minute Nintendo Direct this week, which was not at Gamescom, for Kirby Air Riders. To be honest with you, I did not know a lot about Kirby Air Riders. Just didn't. Apparently it was a GameCube game. And look, I think that's interesting if you didn't have Mario Kart. And it's so funny because the producer of Kirby Air Riders and Kirby Air Riders 2, the game director, who also makes the Smash Bros. Games, came out and said, is this basically, let me address the rumors. Is this basically Mario Kart? And the answer that he gave was, yeah, it's basically Mario Kart, which I think is hilarious. I love that he said it, and I love that he admitted to it. And it looks pretty good. If you're into Kirby, and who isn't, and if you're into Smash Bros. And the way that guy directs games, you might be pretty interested in this. It does look a lot like Mario Kart. And for many of us that just bought a Switch 2 and laid down between $50 and $80 on Mario Kart, you might go, am I buying another Mario Kart in 2 months or whenever this thing comes out? I don't think I am. I'm not advertising this one to the kids. As a result, it looks cool. Matter of fact, if I had seen this, if this had launched and the option was Mario Kart or Kirby Air Riders, it's possible I would pick Kirby Air Riders because they added a little bit of combat to this. And there's some combat in Mario. They put in different, shells and attacks and things that you can unleash in Mario. But in Kirby Air Riders, you have these big swords that chop people. There's some open world stuff as well. It looks really good. It definitely looks beautiful. It's another one of Nintendo's games doing an amazing blue sky situation, right? So that's great. But not only did I not need, I thought I gave it a shot. I watched about 15 minutes of the Kirby Air Riders presentation, and I went, okay, I really appreciate that the game director said, yeah, it's basically Mario Kart, and but simpler and different. And I think that's fine. But I'm not going to spend 45 minutes watching the whole thing. And there's absolutely no way that I'm going to drop another $70 on a Mario, what is basically a Mario Kart game. Can't do it. Or I can do it, but the question is do you want another one of those, or do you want some different experience for the same amount of money? Adult gamer moment. Do I want to spend $70 here, or the opportunity cost to spend $70 somewhere else, right? Which games am I going to play? Because there's been so many great games that have been coming out on these subscription services for effectively free. If you bought a few months of the subscription services, or took $70 times 2, you can get PlayStation Plus Extra. You could end up with a game that I played this week. We'll talk a little bit more about what I'm playing. Sword of the Sea came out and didn't cost me an extra dime. But that's because I pay $140 a year for PlayStation Plus. Like, it ain't free. Like, I get it. But that came out. What else came out? The new Prince of Persia game, like, for me, shadow dropped. I did not know it was coming. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention or if the games industry is just that large. Nod your head. Yes, it's impossible for anybody to totally keep up with what's going on in games. And, this week, they dropped a brand new Prince of Persia game called the Rogue Prince of Persia. The Rogue Prince of Persia, as you might imagine, is a Prince of Persia game. And like the one that came out, I don't know, a year or two ago, it's a 2D side scroller. And you might think to yourself, like, well, I mean, maybe that one was good, maybe it wasn't. Like, was it good? I don't remember. But this one is also a 2D side scroller, but it's a roguelike, hence the name, which means that you're going to go as far as you can and then perish. Bring some resources with you on the respawn. Bring something back to make yourself better the next time, right? And so I realize I'm getting story spoilers in this trailer, man. I didn't realize, because I didn't know anything about it. I went in blind. I just started the game because, as it turns out, this is kind of violent. As it turns out, this is made by the studio that makes Dead Cells, which is one of the best 2D roguelikes ever. And it plays like Dead Cells, but it adds some really amazing things where they have these, not only like the acrobatics have been such a big thing for the Prince of Persia since the old PC games back on like Windows 3.1 or something like that. It's always been about acrobatics. And then famously, the one that came out on like Xbox, PS2, and GameCube, that era, controlled time. This one doesn't have any time control yet. Maybe it's somewhere in the game there's the ability to reverse time. But how are you going to do wall running in 2D? Well, they found a way to make it work. They put these walls up behind your character, and when you hold the left trigger, you can run up the background. And of course, if the background's further away, it doesn't work, right? So it looks pretty realistic. Man, I am seeing so much stuff in this trailer. If you're listening to me on audio only and you don't want to get some of the surprises in this trailer going for you, don't flip to the video version until afterwards. But you know how we deal with spoilers on this show, by the way. Everybody knows, but I'm going to repeat it because this is episode 14 of this show, and you might not have heard it. When you hear a spoiler, here's the mantra that I will provide for you, or see a spoiler. You say, I can't wait to see how that happens. I can't wait to hear how that happens. I can't wait to experience. I just say see. I can't wait to see how that happens, because that changes your brain from I'm upset that I got something spoiled for me to I can't wait to see how that happens. So it takes active charge of your response that goes, negative feeling, something got spoiled for me, to positive feeling, I feel wonderful because I can't wait to see how it happens. So it changes it from upset to excitement. So even when I see that in that trailer, I go, okay, I can't wait to see how that happens. Some huge screen filling boss, I can't wait to see how it happens. Dead Cells. The Dead Cells game is an amazing, fast-paced game. What they've made in my first couple of hours with the Rogue Prince of Persia is a game that feels better than Dead Cells to me when it's not in a loading screen. The loading screens are real rough. They need to upgrade. When you die, it's supposed to be this amazing, pull you back, from death into rebirth at the camp, but it's framey and it slows down. But everything else plays just like it should. The core gameplay, no frame drops that I could tell, feels real good on the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm sure it's fine everywhere else, Xbox or whatever. But it came out on Xbox, Game Pass, and PlayStation Plus Extra and above. Just showed up for me. I was like, what a cool I didn't know it was coming, and B, I didn't know it was going to be made by the Dead Cells folks. So that was the surprise of the week. I was super excited about Sword of the Sea. And my apologies for seeming more excited about the new Prince of Persia game, but it ain't my fault. that they stealth dropped a Dead Cells game in the middle of the week. Like I had no idea that was going to happen. I don't know if it was like a stealth drop from opening. I don't know. It just showed up. People on threads where you can follow me at andrew.m.b started talking to me about it. And I'm like, I mean, I guess I'll look at it. Like, I don't know what it is. And it turns out it's great. So if you like Dead Cells, if you like Prince of Persia, you got to check that thing out. It's pretty great. It is hard by design, right? They're going to make you die a bunch. So there were some other things that came out of opening night live that I don't actually know if they were at the show or if people are just like announcing games because they're like, people are paying attention to video games. That used to happen all the time during E3. It'd be E3 and then people would announce other games because just the eyes of, the internet are upon E3. And if you're either paying attention to it or you're not, and if people are paying attention to video games, it might be a great time to make some announcements because maybe you'll find some stuff that you didn't expect. Such as Battlestar Galactica Shattered Hopes. So there's an article out here on IGN with like a video preview and other stuff from Ryan McCaffrey. What is essentially another roguelite. We're not going to be beating the roguelite allegations anytime soon, folks. Like roguelites take a certain type of game that you already might like and find a way to extend it by not having to make the game always so different just by adding in a little, now you got a new weapon. Now you're 5% faster. Now you're something else, right? It is a way to take a run of a game. You think about like Mario, the original Super Mario Brothers on the NES. That's a game I think you can beat in I'm sure speedrunners have it down to like 5 minutes. Like you can just roll through that game. But it wasn't a game full of combat. It was just a game about platforming. But if you add combat in it, suddenly there's health bars to think about, and then there's weapons to think about. And it's like, not that Mario needs it, but you could make a roguelite Mario game. You could. This is what the new FTL or Faster Than Light game, which was like a mobile and tablet game from a few years ago, apparently has inspired this Battlestar Galactica game. And I would say I'm a casual Battlestar Galactica fan. I've done a podcast with the Battlestar Galactica background on. And these are some screenshots from it. It definitely looks like there's, the little bit of story, some choices in here. The words tactical pause show up on this screenshot, which implies that it's a real-time strategy game and that you're going to tactically pause time, make some decisions about the moves that your ships should do next, and then unpause the game and see what happens. So, upgrading your ships, upgrading your little Vipers that come in and out of the Galactica sound pretty awesome to me. You think about the Battlestar Galactica show, the most recent one with Edward James Olmos. It was really an incredible show because it felt like the half of the show that's on the Galactica felt like it would lend itself very well to a roguelite kind of game. You're constantly making a jump. The bad guys are always after you. You make another FTL jump, and then you deal with whatever scenario you find when you come out of faster than light travel. And this, to me, it looks pretty good. So what I don't know is if it's PC only. Actually, I haven't read the article. It's just something that caught my eye, and there's so much news. So that's a quick hit. Here's a couple of their quick hits. Right, we're gonna keep doing quick hits for a minute. From opening night live or adjacent opening night live announcements. I couldn't tell you and won't even try to tell you if these are all from opening night live. This is Wizordum, which apparently comes out September 23rd on consoles. I've seen people streaming this on PC. It looks like an old 3D Realms or Doom game. You're a wizard, Harry, and you are doing some wizard stuff, man. It's like first-person shooter, but obviously the graphics are... oh yeah, it's an Apogee Games. There's the old Apogee fish. I forgot about that. So you want to talk about Duke Nukem 3D style? Like that's what it looks like. It looks like a like a wizard-based Duke Nukem with even better graphics. And please, Mom, if you're watching, don't look at that pentagram. Yeah, you're gonna do some magic in here. So that one looks neat. It's got a really wild style. And people have been streaming it. So I'm like, oh, maybe if it's on consoles. I'm okay with spending money, real money, on video games. But every time one of these other games comes in, you go, is it going to show up? Is it going to stealth trap PS Plus, PlayStation Plus, or Game Pass going to buy the rights and stealth trap it on one of these subscription services, and I don't even need to pay $20 or $30? You wonder. Speaking of Game Pass, there's a bunch of new games coming out on Game Pass this week, and someone did the work. I want to give a shout out because Xbox won't do it. When Xbox announces games, they do it like this. They say Xbox Game Pass coming soon. I've been ranting on it for weeks. Sarah Bond, if you're listening, please fix this. This is ridiculous. Just put the dates on here, man. And if you don't know because your internal corporate processes are bad, just say so. We don't know when they're coming. It'll be around here somewhere. Doubt it. Just tell me when the dates are. Anyway, they got a bunch coming. Gears of War Reloaded, Voidbreaker, which I like. I like the look of that. Something called Herdling. I'm pretty excited about. I really like this. Anything with blacksmithing looks cool. So these are all coming. But then look at this. Noble News here on Threads found the dates. They know what the dates are. They shoved them into this Xbox Wire article. They just won't put it here because they think we're too stupid to understand. I don't know what they think. Anyway, Blacksmith Master and Voidbreaker come out on 8/19. That's mostly last week. By the time you listen to this, Persona 4 Golden, Herdling, Gears of War Reloaded 8/26, just tomorrow. It's a special day. Helldivers 2 and Gears of War Reloaded. Dragon Age The Veilguard coming out 8/28. So those are your Game Pass games coming out with actual dates. I don't know why they refuse to do that, but they refuse. They absolutely refuse to do it. Okay. One more short, quick hit one. I haven't even watched this trailer with the sound on yet, and I'm not going to play it here on the show because I don't want to get a copyright strike or whatever if it's fancy music. But what happens to the Titans from Titanfall and the pilots when they retire? I don't think that's technically what this game is about. This game is called Bounty Star. But when I saw it, I said, Titanfall, is that you? It looks like the Titans and pilots. It's a little more stylized. It's just a different style from Titanfall. You climb into it. You got you got weapons on there. You got swords, and you're out in the wilderness and you're fighting other Titans. And you might say, okay, I'm in. I like mech games. I like fighting. I like Titans. Is this more of an RPG? The answer is, it kind of looks like it. And then they start showing farming. Are you a homesteader? Titan pilot? I think the answer is yes. I think you've retired from the Titanfall life and you're out there trying to make a living out in the wilderness with your upgradable Titan, getting after it against enemies natural and ones hunting you down. I don't know how to express my excitement for the premise of this game any harder. Bounty Star, The Morose Tale of Graveyard Clem, wish list now. Do they have a date on that one? I think they do. October 23rd. October is getting stacked. We got Battlefield 6, Ball Pit on my birthday, October 15th, and now Bounty Star, The Morose Tale of Graveyard Clem. So, yeah, anybody that's like, gaming's boring. It's like, I don't think you're paying attention, brother. I just don't think you are. There was a bunch of other news. I don't think we're going to be able to get into it. We can't. We can't get into it. This show will go on for hours, and I would love that, but my family needs me, so we're not going to go on forever. One other news story I'll mention, and then you'll have to catch the rest in the Gaming 411 newsletter on patreon.com/the Andy B Show, is that the video game Peak which is a little indie climbing game, has sold 10 million copies now. That was announced at opening night live. And if you've heard of Peak before from this show, it's because we talked about how in Peak there was a basically a game theft, not in Peak, but like Roblox had some folks that stole the game style and rebuilt it into Roblox. Basically, they aped the game and rebuilt it into Roblox. Thanks a lot. Turns out that hasn't stopped people from buying the actual game. 10 million copies. Incredible. So congratulations to the Peak team, not backing down. They famously said a few weeks ago, they're like, hey, if you're going to buy, or play that Roblox game that stole our game ideas and style, we'd rather you just pirate our own game and play the real thing. And apparently people have resonated with that, not to pirate it, but to make it huge. So I think that's pretty cool. All right. Let's talk about a couple things. We got two big segments left on the show, what I've been playing and community spotlight, and we're going to jump into them right now. Two of I've mentioned, I've already talked about some of the stuff I've been playing, but I've also played two other games. The first is Sword of the Sea. So I did play Sword of the Sea. It just launched on PlayStation Plus Extra. And if you have PlayStation Plus Extra, or you have a PlayStation and money, I can tell you that I recommend this game. It is a good video game. And I do think you should try it out. I put some clips up on Threads about the game, and it's got amazing music, just wonderful style, and like a lot of games that really just kind of want to do some environmental storytelling, and this isn't the only one like it. It's got this, wonderful ethereal piano music, and then not a lot of dialogue, not a lot of text. And it's really there to just have you explore a story and find out what it looks like and sounds like and feels like by playing it. So really no dialogue, no text to speak of, at least as far as I'm in there. But basically you play what is maybe some type of like ancient warrior, I don't know what, that has been frozen to time. You unlock when a drop of water hits you. And then you quickly realize that the desert that you live in is devoid of the life that used to be there. And we need some water. And for whatever reason, it's your job to go unlock it. And so when you start, you're in this like, place where all of these other warriors like you have been kind of frozen. I don't know, frozen with ice, but like magically frozen. And you wake up with your sword in this like parade rest, and you're like, okay, it's time to go fight. But no, it's not time to fight. It's time to surf on the sword. And I don't know if everybody always surfed on the sword or if this is just new when you wake back up, but you start surfing pretty much right away. And it looks amazing in this wonderful desert landscape. You can do some tricks. I don't know how big the tricks get, but you can double jump and kick flip and slide around with just the waves of the sea. And even though the sand you would think would be static, the sand even operates as if it's full of water and waves, but all you can see is the sand. And when you're on the sand, you can have some fun. You could kick flip and duck and dive and get a little bit of speed. But the real speed shows up when you unlock some water. You have some type of magical power. It unlocks the water, and then the fish show up. All the sea life shows up. And once you get on the water, you can really hoof it. The water is like the speed unlock. So you'll go to a new area. You'll do something. Solve some type of environmental puzzle to unlock some water. And then it's like kicking it in a high gear. You can suddenly go incredibly fast, jump much higher, hit these ramps. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. And just wonderful sea creatures that'll come out with you and hang out. So it's beautiful. It's a little bit of I don't know, kind of reminds me of just the chill parts of the one of those games with the aliens that James Cameron makes, and that's all he's going to make for the rest of his acting career or directing career because he just wants to make like 5 more of them. Avatar. It's like the Avatar, The Way of Water, Shape of Water. It's just beautiful, seascapes and animals that want to talk with you and chill with you. But I don't think they actually talk. I saw somebody like riding a killer whale the other day up to like a hidden spot. Thought that looked pretty cool. Yeah. So, Sword of the Sea, I recommend it. Check it out. It's important to know that one of the big announcements, not to bring it back to opening night live, but just for a second, they did announce at opening night live that Silksong is coming out on September 4th. And Victor here, Frizzale, said, I officially have 15 days to beat Hollow Knight before Silksong's release on September 4th. The race is on. To which I said, handshake emoji times 1,000. Because I also, like, I've probably played, I don't know, 20, 30 hours of Hollow Knight, but here's the dirty problem with like subscription services. Sometimes you'll get a game and then they'll take it off the subscription service at some point. And then if you don't buy that game, you'll forget about it for a while because maybe you weren't playing it as much. Maybe you took a break. Maybe you got distracted by something else. Never happens to me. And then your save is stuck there. So this is a second like podcast confession that I can make, which is I had that happen with Hades and now Hollow Knight, where I have like a save probably somewhere on my Xbox from when the games were free on Game Pass, but then got removed. And now what? Like now my saves are, so I'm just restarting the games, but I'm buying them on another console. I'd bought Hollow Knight on the Switch and played it for a bit, played it for about 8 or 10 hours, made it to the Mantis Lords, but then stopped. And so it's like, if you restart a game and you put 8 to 10 hours in it twice, like you're probably falling off of that game again before you finish it. But there's a wonderful period of time where the marketing is hyped up, where everybody in the gaming community is doing something. And there's a sense of excitement, the shared excitement for something new that's coming. Death Stranding, we saw it earlier this year back in May when Death Stranding 2 was coming out. There were so many people on threads that I hang out with that are like, man, I got to go finish Death Stranding 1. And I just live vicariously through them because yes, I played some Death Stranding 1 during that time, but I didn't have the time to commit to beat the whole thing. So I got to enjoy, their runs and their, all of their delivery likes and all of their stats and everything, which was really fun. But the same thing's happening with Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight, we got less than 2 weeks before it's coming out at this point. And supposedly you can beat the main, game of Hollow Knight in 20 hours. If you go to howlongtobeat.com, I'm going to go there right now. There's a bunch of extra stuff you can get that takes way longer. I don't know why. Like it seems like it's all kind of in the same area, but it must keep opening up. Hollow Knight, main story, 27 hours. Completionist, 64 hours. Well, I'm not going to do 64 hours between now and then, but I might be able to take it from the 9 hours I had to 27. It's like an hour a night. Am I going to play an hour a night? So I'm probably not going to finish it on time, but it is fun to play with it and be a part of it. So I did beat the Mantis Lords last night, and I'm a little upset, honestly, that the Nintendo Switch maybe it's like this on every game console. They can flip a switch. The developers can just decide that you can or can't take video, like with the video record button of certain games. And this the whole game of Hollow Knight. They're like, you can't video this, but I can take screenshots. So I did beat the Mantis Lords last night. That's where I was at, and unlocked the key to the Deep Nest. One of the coolest things about beating the Mantis Lords is that there's 3 of them. You fight one, and you're going to get wrecked at first. And I got wrecked a bunch. I had to go back down there and try to learn the patterns. And this is the place where Hollow Knight is like a Souls game. There's no difficulty slider. You lose all of the geos, souls, in this case, geos, the little rocks that count as money in the game, when you die. But you can go recapture your soul and therefore the geos if you go back to where you died and capture your soul before you die again. So there's a risk reward. You never want to die. It's always tough. Every hit hurts. And it's a little more forgiving than, for me, a lot of Souls games because it's a 2D screen. And so there's not a third dimension to have to move around in, just two. And it's easier to see what's going on with some of these bosses for me as a result. So I was like, okay, Mantis Lords, like I'm in, like I'm going. I just put a podcast on my shoulder and I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this until I figure out these patterns. And at some point I just kind of unfocused my eyes a little bit. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I can see what's happening. And so I beat the first Mantis Lord. And then what happens afterwards is that the other two drop down and they fight you with the same patterns plus new ones at the same time. So it doubles the difficulty instantly, which is like, when I beat the Mantis Lords, I felt a sense of achievement that you only get when you beat hard bosses. And it is a Souls game to that extent. It has very difficult bosses. The penalty for dying is big. There's a long walk back. But when you beat the Mantis Lords, you gain their respect. And that means that every other Mantis that you've been fighting in and around the Mantis town, when you walk up to them now, they just bow to you. And they show you a little, they genuflect. They show some respect. And it's a special feeling. Like it's just a different thing that they've done. And so I can see why every time I play a little bit more Hollow Knight and actually commit to going through the hard part and dealing with it and over and over and over and over to get there, you go, you know what? I could see why people love these games. I could see why people love Souls games, because the challenge is worth it when you finally feel like you did it. It's pretty special. I'll tell you what else is pretty special. It's the community spotlight. We're going to talk about some things that have been going on in the community. And a lot of that happens in the comment sections where, maybe if you follow me on YouTube, if you subscribe to me on TikTok, Threads, or Instagram, that's where I'm at. Not anywhere else except for the Patreon. I pay attention to all the comments that come in. If you comment, I'm probably responding. Because I'm not that big, but I pay attention to these. So I appreciate it. Leave me a comment. I saw a couple of things happening on Threads that caught my eye. Threads just has such a good algorithm for kind of bringing together the topics you want to talk about. Here's one from Eric Bailey Jr. He said, I'm not a gamer, but I enjoy playing video games. Though lately I haven't been interested in anything new, so I'm replaying Red Dead Redemption 2. But this time I'm going to do it with low honor. I'm interested to see how the story changes. I'm like, okay, you're a gamer, dude. Like, what do you mean you're not? Like, first of all, you're playing Red Dead Redemption 2, which means you have either a computer or a console that's tough enough to run it. So first of all, gamer. Secondly, you're replaying one of the longest games. Gamer. I'm doing it with low honor. So you're going to replay it. You're going to role play a replay. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm going to follow this dude right now. Bam. Here's another one that came up that was very similar, like a very similar theme. This is by Kermudge Millie, which I think is great. She says, I don't consider myself a gamer at all, though I do play a handful of video games now and then. I'm a big Stardew Valley fan. I've played through both Portals a couple times and some cool artsy storytelling games like The Unfinished Swan, Grizz, I think, and The Stanley Parable. And then there's Hollow Knight. I got into Hollow Knight last year and hyper-focused on it. I played through 2 different endings, and the remaining 2 are beyond my skill level. And until this week, I just call myself a fan, but I'm getting choked up watching this Silksong trailer. I did not realize just how much I love the art, music, and general vibe of Hollow Knight until I got a glimpse of them in this new game. I'm so flippin' excited, and they're releasing it just in time for my birthday in September. Happy 39th birthday to me. Well, happy early 39th birthday to you, Kermudgeemily. Name's Emily. I told her, I don't know how to tell you this, so I'm just going to come out and say it. You are a gamer. I'm not sure what's going on where folks are like, nah, I'm not a gamer. And I think it's because gaming is so big. There's so many types and slices of like games that you could play and how you might be publicly seen to be playing the games. And especially if you watch like people that are professional video game streamers, you're like, well, stream online all my gameplay. Like I'm not a gamer. I don't play big multiplayer Battlefield, 1 versus 100 video game. I'm not a gamer. These people are gamers. There's more than there's ever been, and there will never be another generation of people that aren't playing video games. It's the biggest, widest, most interactive entertainment medium there is, and you can tell certain stories that you can't tell anywhere else. I'm a fan of books. My kids read books every night and since I was reading to them when they were little babies. And I read basically every day, every night, just a couple pages because I'm busy and doing other things. But I'm always got a book or two I'm working on, maybe an audio book. I think books are very important. I love podcasting, but preparing for this podcast is different than writing a published book, right? It is different. And it's different than games. So books and games, I think you can call it. I like a TV show. I like a movie every now and then, but like games are something special because they can have a little bit of all of it. The music, the production, the interactivity. And some of these are just story games, some of them are, learning how to live on the frontier while you repair your old Titan. Look forward to that game. That was fun. If you think you're not a gamer out there, if you're even thinking you think you're not a gamer, I got news for you. We had one other community spotlight thing I just wanted to call out. Thanks to everyone who's ever commented on my YouTube channel, including this guy. I had a video about Darksiders, in which I said like Darksiders 1 was amazing, and I fell off on 2, and I didn't even bother with 3. And he said, what's the point of playing only one Darksiders game? There's no point in you playing part 4 when it comes out. Your review is crap. To which I said, you play bad games for fun. It's not my fault. Around these parts is the job of the game being good enough to keep me interested, not the other way around. And it's not my fault that 3 was garbage. Thanks for the comment. So I don't mind if somebody gives me a comment that's not, is a little rude, but it's, it's not the end of the world. But that got me thinking, like, there are some games I play that I know are just bad. Like, they're not great games, but I still like them anyway. And so that's the question for you in the community this week is, what are the bad games that you like to play? And I know some of you are going to be like, well, World of Warcraft, because, you've been playing it for so long that you know all the nuances, you know what feels good and bad. And I'd say the same thing about Destiny 2. I'd be like, oh, Destiny 2, that's a bad game that I've put half 1,000 hours in. There's got to be some bad games out there that you like to play. So let me know what they are. I want to know what they are. Tell me your bad games. I need to know. What games could you just never justify as a great game, but that you're still excited to play? Let me know. Also, in the community spotlight this week, I'd like to thank a new country that I got listeners all over the world, it turns out, and Spotify and YouTube like to break down gender and, male, who's listening in different countries as well. And at least on the podcast apps like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and others, 2.2 of my listeners are 2.2% of my listeners are from Japan, or at least they're listening in Japan. So domo arigato to my Japanese listeners out there. Thank you for listening to the Andy B Show, a video game podcast for adult gamers. So glad to have you along the way. Folks, we did it. Like, this is the show. I hope it's been good for you. What did we talk about today? Yes, we did talk about the fact that there is 191 gigabytes of Warzone, which seems unnecessary, but it was worth downloading. We had a couple of great matches, and I definitely caused us to lose. Helldivers 2 is coming out this week on Xbox with a bunch of new exciting things. I don't have 45 minutes for Kirby Air Riders, but some of you do. It's a lot of excitement. I'm glad for those of you that are really into that game that you're getting what you want, maybe what you deserve. We talked about what's coming out on Game Pass, what's been coming out with the Rogue Prince of Persia, with Sword of the Sea. There's a new FTL Battlestar Galactica game. I'm keeping an eye out on that one. Keeping an eye out on Titanfall Farming, the Bounty Star game. That one looks really good. We didn't talk about a bunch of things with Black Ops 7 not having a difficulty option. Maybe we'll talk about that when it comes out. And Peak hit 10 million copies of games sold despite Roblox cloning them. I beat the Mantis Lords and Hollow Knight. And yeah, if you think you're a gamer out there, you are. You're probably an adult gamer, especially if you're listening to a podcast all the way through the end of this show. You're in good company. I'm so glad you're here. And really, I can't wait to see you next week, right? What are we going to talk about next week? I'm going to try and beat a couple of more Hollow Knight bosses. I think that's important. I probably will have some stories about what's going on in Helldivers too, hopefully with the fellas. So looking forward to play that. If you're playing any of those games, like reach out to me, let me know what your experiences are like, and have a great week. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.